The replay welcome. I'm Steve. That's Bandit. Not on cue. Mark's outside, and this is Smokeysteveandmarc. Welcome or welcome back. Happy 4th of July here in the States. It's been hot as hell. It was hotter yesterday, and then we had some wicked storms last night that came through, wind, lightning, all the fun stuff, but no flooding, just heavy rain. And we'll see. There's supposed to be chances of storms over the weekend too. So we'll find out. The heat index is probably about 95. It was 105 yesterday, so we're laying low. Many of you, I imagine, are in a pool or at a barbecue, or you're sleeping if you're on some other part of the world. So do enjoy. I don't know. I think I might make a burger tonight. That's probably about the extent of it. It's hot out still. I'm not really digging the sweating when I get out of the shower because it's exertion kind of thing. She understands. Chantal understands. You know, you get a shower and you never really dry off because you start sweating again almost immediately. Now we've got AC and it's pointing, we have a long hallway and it's pointing one direction then the other at intermittent times of day. So iced coffee, twofold. It's hot, no head either. Also, I have to go to the dentist this coming week. I have a tooth in the back here. It's not the very back, but in the back. My front teeth are mostly fine. Of course, they could be whitened, but such is life. I smoked for 30 years. When you get past here and go back, I only have 22 teeth. I don't have a ton. So when I had braces, they just put a rope through, straightened them, and jammed them up to the front. Well, the teeth in the back need some work done. Now, I've had a history with bulimia. So my back teeth were jacked anyway. I have 4 crowns here, 4 root canals. I'm going to need another either root canal or just yank the tooth and maybe put a bridge in. The back one is cracked off as well, even though that had been repaired. So it hurts to drink like hell to drink anything hot, more than room temperature. But iced coffee, I could rinse my mouth out like it's mouthwash and it wouldn't hurt a bit. So I can't. I always thought they came together usually, but that's a project for another day. It is a federal banking holiday, and so we don't have to do shisa. So, we are going to check in with our fair lady Chantal. That's him. Chantal Marie, Foodie Beauty, Big Beautiful Me, The Daily Chantal, Chantopolis, The Chantal Show, Chantal and Sala, Everyday Miriam, Battlestar Galactica. It's been a few other things too. So last we talked, she lived. She was alive. She was in her apartment, said that she thought the day before she was getting a cold and put up a community post that, oh, I'm sick. And then the next day, because she didn't get sick, it was her mental health stuff that kept her in all day. And she just couldn't be around anybody or anything. She's allowed a life off camera, but it's kind of obvious when it happens. So there we are. Janet, hello. Grateful, hello. My other car, hello, hello, and happy 4th. So she said that she wasn't well, and essentially that she was fine, not terribly sick. And the chat as much said, you know, we like you a lot, but we don't really respect being lied to all the time. And she kind of gave it the part of her, well, it's my part of my quirky fat girl persona. You know, I'm joyous, I'm bubbly, I love to sing. Oh, and did I tell you I lie? What a selling point. Put that up where it says, who wants papers? Notice, must accept and participate in lies. That might make a smaller pool of people coming in. So just to put that out there. So yeah, that's bullshit. There are beezers though, and her people who are supporting her, which is, you know, everyone needs that. And the new plan that was being put together for July 1st didn't really happen for July 1st. That didn't happen because she was sick with mentals, some other thing. I don't want to talk about faking sick necessarily, but if you did want to, you know, feign illness and nothing's physically wrong with you, whether you have mental health problems or not, you could point to them and use them as an excuse. I suspect, though I don't know, that Chantal does that. So, but the new plan, she was nowhere to be seen July 1st. She couldn't work out because she was too sick, too dizzy, hot, back hurts, pinched nerve, boil, cellulitis. I don't know. I'm sure she can't feel her. I can't feel my feet when I'm with you. I'm sure that, remember the time she had the cuts all over her and everything? Then she didn't know, guessing being, you know, she didn't feel it. It was not a ton of blood, but she's on blood thinners, or should be. So there's, you know, it's a totally pedestrian concern of hers, nothing to do with it. Fireworks, yes, for any of you pet lovers, in the US, July 4th is the day that most pets run away because fireworks can be scary. So I'm not saying don't enjoy them. Don't buy your own if you have them in your community, but just be mindful that your pet is secure. Also, if they shit the bed, they might just be scared. It's, our cats are pretty used to it. Thunderstorms don't scare them. Oscar will stand in the window and watch. So our boys are tough, built tough. But so all the things to get out of getting active. And the only way, of course, to get active is to be active and do that stuff. So now she did make it to the gym, and it took a lot of coaxing, a lot of coaxing, and maybe someone reminding her, we're paid members, you're not a dancing, well, she is a dancing bear, whatever they pay for, she'd do. So the new plan went on hold for a minute for the first and second, and then yesterday morning, she went to the gym. Maybe this morning there was nothing. She went to the gym. So her going to the gym is interesting for 1,000 reasons. First of all, she's going to have all her medical things on underneath. She's going to sweat that thing off. I don't care if it's screwed into her humerus. It's not going to make it. It's not going to make it a week. Something will happen. She will find what she thinks is a legitimate reason to take it off, or, absolutely, pets and vets. Some of my biggest heroes, pets and vets. So, now, when she went to the gym, she looked her usual purple as she was going, and it was about 9 miles. 9 minutes, 9 miles. My God, she'd be dead. It was about 10 minutes, just under. She burned 22 calories and went 1.1 miles. That's not awful, really. I mean, for her. The thing is, you can't bask in the afterglow of working out and taking care of yourself by eating a shit ton of, even if it's homemade food. A ton of it. Food made in your kitchen still has calories. If you fry it at home and not get it from the store, it's still fried. So, let's not confuse ourselves with, oh, I'm eating healthy, I'm eating from home. Plenty of people don't eat out who are fat as fuck, okay? So it's a thing. It's definitely a thing. So the medical device that she left on, she didn't really look into how it works. She kind of only half explains it because either she's playing it low key or she doesn't know what the hell it is. Switching arms during the middle, it's not, from what I understand, is not ideal or fucks it up pretty much, that you can't get an accurate read. She said she wanted to go back to just taking it herself. But, how often did she do that? When she needed content? Maybe when she felt a little dizzy? She just poorly takes care of herself and then comes to a chat of guys, this is really hard. Well, yeah, we watched you get to this point for 9 months. 9 months. This is the opposite of a health bees. That's what I think. At her weight, I'm going to, I, of course, am no doctor, no suggestions. At her weight, before anything, she should be evaluated. Give her a stress test or physical therapy would probably be ideal if she's losing weight. There's no point in any of this mobility shit if she's just going to get fatter. And if she's going to shave off 20 calories a day, well, there goes an olive. So, yeah, the diet, thank you, Doob. The diet, I understand, is the biggest part of it. My nutritionist 1,000 years ago had said, 90% of your weight is your diet and the other 10 is exercise. So 10 minutes of exercise up against a pile of nashies drowned in gravy, it's hard. She must have put on it. She had 2 sensors. I think she said they were about $100 each. Of course, she'll complain about the cost of the treatment. For all the money you dump into medical treatment, wouldn't you want to see it through just for a financial standpoint? It's you know what? I probably don't have heart problems, but why don't we get this EKG out of the way real quick? We'll just check to make sure. I'm sure she has a lot of issues that co-occur that would need regular seeing, and she doesn't. She waits till there's a crisis in one of her clusters of shit, and then runs out, gets scared, scares everybody else, comes back, makes a plan, basks in the sympathy, gets good feedback for 2 days, and then she says to everyone, get out of my business, it's none of your life, who cares what I'm eating, who cares who I'm talking to, after she's made comments about the people in her life and her cooking food. So it goes. But yeah, I would say at her weight, if she's a diabetic and all that stuff, you shouldn't be, I would suggest, they always say, go to a doctor before whatever. She can walk to the bathroom and she can stand while cooking without having to go to the doctor. I think it's safe because those things are uncomfortable for her. And it's worth looking. Is it uncomfortable because you slipped a disc, so you don't want to stand? I mean, there's some things that are a matter of her being lazy And then there's a chance that something's actually wrong with her, that she's caused herself by her choices, but that is still wrong with her. People with bad backs still get back surgery, but you need to lose like 100 pounds usually. They don't want you fat for that kind of thing. So, let me see. She asked while she was making some chicken soup. So she was going to make some chicken soup. She put it all together in the crock pot. It looked like chicken soup in a crock pot. She made biscuits because of course she did. Not a roasted eggplant, not a side of green salad. Nope, biscuits. One biscuit is not deadly. The problem is 10 biscuits within reach. It's a lot easier to eat, if you have that first one, it just goes. It's like potato chips, Lay's chips, you can't eat just one. They look like the little biscuits you get at Long John Silver's, which I would be a total fat kid and bring a purse with me, load it up with those, and head home. I'll get a small bisque to go, please, and a bucket of the biscuits. So, with her usual bullshit health problems, under the care of a doctor, under the care of a psychiatrist would be important. Somebody raised a good point the other day that, on the whole, she would probably be best to start with mental health services, because improving her mental health will make these other things that she wants to do less intimidating. Maybe she'll trust herself a little more to take bigger chances. If she can walk for 10 minutes, then... And everyone says, walk for 10 minutes and then walk for 8 minutes. I'm going with the bare bones, folks. I've dialed it back myself. Sitting up while using your phone, standing while you're cleaning or cooking, and no scooter inside the house. And just that. Nothing more, nothing less. Just something very doable with very few rules. So she will find a reason that she's too special. She's way too special for all these habits. Eat less, move more. It's more likely to be an allergy to like a medication or something. Or maybe it has to do with my hormones. Her priorities, you can tell, are pretty different than the doctor's. The doctor who's like, here's your insulin, here's these things to put on you. And she's wanting to know about hormone replacement therapy, which is a genuine concern, but it might not be at the tippity top of the list because she primarily wants it for hair. She thinks it'll help. You put hair on that woman, it's still her under there, And what does she want thick, luscious hair for? She's in a goddamn hijab with her husband for life. So if no one's ever going to see it, she's going to grow it out and thicken it up for the guy that she texts back and forth. You can, of course. I mean, if my hair was, my hairline is like here. This is the back half of my head. What I would probably want is that, and then it's hard to declare a new hairline in the front. So until they perfect it and make it cheap or free, we will stay with a shaved head. I can definitely live with that. I also tend to pull on my hair if I'm nervous. I didn't have much hair, of course, but even when it was just maybe an inch long or so, I would twist and yank and yank and yank and twist. I had two sweet spots, one over here, and then the other one was, because this hair was already thin, but I would just play with it and pull on it, and what do you know? It made the bald patches bigger! So that stopped after I started shaving my head, pretty much. So it was one way around it. I would just find some other way to fidget, tend to bite my knuckles, not my nails, but bite my hands, things like that. Text, hello. Selkie, hello. I don't think she's so sick that therapy couldn't start. Like, if she was, I hate to be so generic, but like if she was on 600-pound life, if she went in like anybody else, did her weigh in, and she was 40 something, and she told the doctor she was just bloated that day. And he sent her home and said, you need to lose 30 pounds in a month or 40 pounds in 2 months. And if you do that and come back, then you can get surgery. Chantal's attitude towards that is going to be this. There was this one nasty, nasty woman on 600-pound life who basically said, doctor, I can't lose weight. That's why I'm getting the effing surgery. And while part of me screamed out, logic, reason, the other part of me thought, excuse. You want everyone else to do everything around you for your health. What are you willing to do? Oh, nothing. I'm just going to ignore it till it's a crisis and then make it everybody's problem. Now, she didn't invent crises, and she didn't invent ignoring medical problems either. But when you add all that together, and you have this happening to a type of person with a personality like Chantal's, where it's not just medical stuff, it's heaving and up and down, and what do I want to do with my life? I mean, just have lunch, honey. Just have lunch. Okay? Just make yourself another sandwich. She already made 2 when she made the first one because it was for later. What later? It's a meal. Is it dinner? I don't know. We're still supposed to be on no takeout. That means no takeout on camera. So who knows where the rest of her money's going? And I suspect, though I don't know, that there's some piggy type folks in her chats that would want that. You're doing shit today that you'll have to repent tomorrow. Pick the first batch of beans, maybe the first lentil soup, clean it up. Good stuff. Good stuff. Ooh, ribs. I think my parents might have been making ribs. I'm not sure. They're going up to my aunt's place. There's fireworks around the lake where they're getting together. I don't know if they were last night or tonight. We had a wicked thunderstorm last night. I don't know that we're having one, but we'll see. Oh. Not even losing the man to make her change. Well, it's if Sala did disappear, and for all we know he has, because she keeps her private life offline, even though we know all that we know about Sala, there wouldn't be a giant community with tens of thousands of people who know about his peculiar sexual interests without Chantal. We owe all that to her. So, yeah. All right. So, yeah, 10 minutes, 23 calories. While this is true, it's probably discouraging to her. It may be her best bet to not measure calories or distance, but maybe time. Because if she can walk a mile, whether she can do it in 15 minutes or 10 minutes, that's something to kind of guesstimate your own progress. Is it getting easier? Is it getting harder? Do I need to up the intensity so that I'm a little less purple? But buckled up to her chin, no. In the hijab and everything, leave the camera. Everyone in the building knows you're full of shit, so take the goddamn thing off. Go to the gym, work out, go back upstairs, wrap it around your sweaty hair. I hope you showered, because there's 1,000 reasons why it's more important. It's always important to shower, but when you're talking about deliberately getting a sweat on in the middle of the day, when you have sores or rashes or anything fungal like that, which thrives in wet, moist environments. She's a walking petri dish. Just scary stuff. And then she thought she lost her phone. So she went back down to the gym. She came back up, and then she found her phone. She was so excited. I don't know. I would, again, be like, don't, push her in an hour. Don't push her too far, because she'll quit. So 10 minutes to her felt like a lot. Enough that she's going to say tomorrow she's injured. She's not going 2 days in a row. She would set a more reasonable goal. Like, a goal for Chantal would be like twice a week. No more. No building up to anything. Just for some consistency. Twice a week. On Mondays and Thursdays, I go to the gym. And you will build time for YouTube and interests in your husband and family and all that other shit in the rest of the time. But take a half hour for yourself. I don't think it's, like, ideal for her, like I said, to be like, she's not going to do sprints or anything. And walking without the treadmill will let her slow down when she needs to, if she needs to. Now, just because she went that far today, I don't know. If she would start exercising, eat better, and then get into the habit of checking her sugar, she could have, like, high-low bets to see how well she's actually doing or not doing. So, and she found her phone. Big deal. Now, part of getting to the gym, I understand she has to wear modest clothing to cover her. That's fine. And I can appreciate that it's a few layers of it too, and it's dog hot outside. But at the same time, I have a white kitty too. Lint brush. Real easy. If you don't have a lint brush, wrap your hand in duct tape, sticky side out, and you can get them like ask Heloise. That's a Mark tip. Or just wear different clothes. My pea coat, one day it was very cold in the morning. I wore my coat to work. My coat had kitty fur all over it. And then it's been hot ever since, so I left it at work. So on my lunch break the other day, I was like, ooh, we love our Oscar, but Oscar never has fur balls. Why? Because he sheds. Bandit has fur balls. He's the long hair too, but at any rate. So her clothes were kind of filthy. Does that say anything? Well, wearing the same clothes a few days in a row doesn't have to mean anything necessarily, unless it points to something else going on in her head. I tend to keep fewer outfits in different sizes because my weight goes up and down so much. So often enough for work, I'll be like, wear, wash, wear the next day, wash, wear it 2 days after, because at the moment I only have a handful of things that fit so well. My weight's coming down a little bit. But we'll be a while until we get back to where we were. If I'm not doing anything hardcore and just eating like a normal person, it'll settle back down in probably 6 to 9 months where it was before. Or I'll hit my set point, either way. So that's, That's one thing that can be done. Oh, wash it. Wash your clothes. That's novel too. Now, it's not just the cat fur. There's food bits and pieces. I don't know why she doesn't care, but she doesn't seem to care. For some folks, I'll tell you for me, hygiene is one of the first things that will start to go if I'm not mentally well in like a depressive way. It's kind of that like, whatever, who cares? I don't go out anyway. Who am I? I'm already married. I'm not like I'm talking to anybody. Who cares what the haters say? Blah, 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 blah. I don't care what you think of me, and to put enough filters on to drain a data center in about an hour. So, I don't know. Her losing her phone would have been actually pretty funny because she said, nothing is secured. I'm like, if she didn't have the password locked on it. Chantal's the kind of person that don't fall asleep next to her. She'll pick up your phone and start looking in it. I'm sure she does it to her boyfriends. Everyone who snoops through someone's phone tries to tell the same story of like, well, I was just passing by and I happened to glance over my shoulder. You mean you were sitting on the stairs with binoculars trying to read what he was saying? Like that kind of thing? Ceiling, not... she just needs to, at this point, it's gotten so bad. It's not even like, I mean, remember with Pete's, she was talking about they were looking at an apartment when they were hunting for apartments, and there was a place that had a very small elevator, so she couldn't live there. There was another one where I guess the parking was very far from the entrance. She couldn't do the walking. She couldn't do that either. So, her disorder kind of impacts every area of her life to the point it limits where she can live. And disability will do that. The thing is, though, what's your disability? So, are we going to go to like Our Lady of, was it Lourdes with the holy water, and all the other people with one limb and crutches will find their way up to the front to see if they can get some blessings, and Chantal's going to roll up in her jazzy, wash her hands in the water, and then lick her fingers. Because she has a disease too. It's called I can't stop fucking eating. I joke, I make it sound too simple, but in a lot of ways it really isn't. The bare bones of something like eat less, move more is not. She wants something specific, but then she uses that specification. Like it says walk 10 minutes, for example. Well, if she walks for 9 minutes and 15 seconds, that's almost 10 minutes, whatever, it's fine. And maybe physically it's not a huge deal, but mentally, when I do physical, like workout, walk things, the numbers to me are important. Of course, listen to your body and blah, blah, blah. But for how long, I have no perception. Like I could be killing myself on an elliptical machine and I look down and it's been 7 minutes. I'm like, oh, fuck. I have like another half hour to go. She did do pretty well, though, with not dying. I guess that's the best she could have done. She was heavy breathing. I'm sure she hit her inhaler and all the other stuff. But I would hope for her sake, and she's too arrogant to say it, but she probably needs to be in a room with a couple medical pros, because if she kept going, if they had her hooked up to a machine with the pads and checking everything else, I doubt they would have recommended she continue. Something safe, like people had said, walk around the inside of your home. We've done that with Mark. Mark's at like 8 weeks out. So he's been able to be outside. He's in here. He's used the cane a little bit off and on. So it's possible to regain mobility, and it'll reduce some pain. But stand up to cook? Yes. Yes. This is not a huge thing to do. I never saw somebody, unless they were disabled, elderly, sit in the kitchen and cook. Like I would think of all the things a fat person would stand up for, it'd be food, but I guess not. Chantal at the moment was talking about doing meal prepping. So as she was preparing, while this shit was in the crock pot, while she had a little sandwich and a piece of fruit and a V8 and went to the gym, and the chicken stuff was all ready when she got back, and she made biscuits, and it was all very cute. The plan, though, was that she was going to have that. Now, while she's finishing, yes, Simply Sarah, rest in peace, stood during cooking. And it looked like it hurt like hell, but she still did. So she made a big pot of something, and then she sits down with the chat, and before she's even done eating, it says, okay, let's plan dinner for tomorrow night. And she said she wants to do better, and it's not safe for her to have a ton of food in the house, because you think it's fast food, but she said, I want to just have regular meals, not make something one night and finish the whole thing, which means more often than not, like, that's for one. It's probably supposed to serve 6, maybe? But she'll eat the whole thing. She'll give herself a little permission because it's homemade and it's real ingredients and blah, blah, blah. but she'll go back to that. And I think that's probably the stretch of it. When I was a kid and when I was gaining weight, we always ate at like the dinner at the dining room table. So we'd all, and brother, sister, mom, dad, me, and everyone would eat what they were going to eat. And then they'd get up and go do something else, watch TV, go outside, whatever. And the food would be left. So I would like be putting the food away, but eating it as I'm putting it away. So I wasn't like crazy. I mean, I did have times where I think I would sneak food as a little kid. Um, because I wanted to eat and I didn't want to hear about it. I didn't want anyone to see it. I think I had snuck a plate of spaghetti into the bathroom, actually, because I was hungry and I didn't want to hear about it from brother, sister, whoever. I just wanted to have something to eat, but then felt guilty and hid the evidence. So I had some food issues starting at a younger age. I can appreciate where maybe she's at with some food stuff, but and they can go. It's sometimes full recovery from eating issues is totally possible, and other people need to troubleshoot for the rest of their lives, and some people go into long remissions. She purchased more groceries. She wants to start making her own breakfast, and likely all going to rot. Yes, it is. This will be probably up to $600 worth of groceries for this woman in a month. Has it been a month? She did the big haul where she had to get all that green stuff, and they're sitting in water in the fridge so the leaves will stay fresh so I can put them in my coconut water. So all that shit rotted. She might as well just buy it, label it compost, and throw it right out when it gets home. Then she went and bought more, but she got more reasonable things. So she was like, oh, you're just checking. Canada is playing Morocco right now. Ah, how about that? She's trying to beat her HelloFresh graveyard amount. Yeah, the HelloFresh was a joke. I mean, even if you don't make the damn foods, no way I could eat the amounts she eats. You are on Ozempic for 18 months. Thank you, calendar. You will also lose interest in food. She says that intermittently, but I don't know if she feels it. Because she doesn't eat because she's hungry. She eats because she's hungry. And, you could cut her stomach in half. She will still, it's her main way to cope with any sort of feeling. She celebrates big with food. She rewards herself for small accomplishments with food. Wait till you see what we eat after this walk on a treadmill. Wait till you see. Her inner self is going, I deserve whatever I want. I exercise today. Granted, we're talking about her in little. The weed would probably, if it activated her appetite and you lose the sense of fullness with the munchies, then it probably allows her to eat without the nausea. But like people who would smoke to relieve nausea to eat would be like originally before it was big medical, like cancer patients, people on chemo, and it would be prescribed to, for relaxation, but to also induce appetite in people who don't have one, people who have literal anorexia, like no hunger, not, and it would be good for that population. But she doesn't need to be taking any drug that makes you hungry. No. We are not too far off the same boat. One of the meds I was taking was making me very fat. Would it be healthy? Physically? Mentally? Hello in Missouri. How are you? And welcome. Eminence. Never heard of it. So, the food she bought a little bit of junk food on the second of this now third haul of 3 weeks. And she got some junk food. So she had bought like bag of Doritos, some frozen pizza, some little odds and ends that she was going to have. And it was a bit smaller of an order. And now it's huge again. She said she's never in her adult life used all her groceries. Look, a lot of us throw shit away. I mean, sometimes, well, thing is though, she said if she makes a big pot of something, she's going to eat the whole thing. When she orders takeout, she eats the whole thing. I don't know how she has so many dirty dishes for a woman that rarely cooks, but she seems to. She accumulates a lot of clutter and fast food bags and buckets of feta that we just keep in the background. Like, oh yeah, I was just noshing on some feta. And what I thought I needed was a lot more fat and salt in my diet because I was feeling a little too good. So I wanted to get back to woozy. So, I went headlong with it. So back from the gym, she eats the soup, talks about what to make for dinner the next night, and they remind her, leftovers. You're eating this. You're eating leftover this tomorrow. She looks disappointed. Variety is good. When I've meal prepped before, I would usually do it for just like the week, not 2 weeks out. It gave me something to do. I like food and food stuff. I'm like, over the hill eating disorder, but I still have all the same fascination and interest in weight, calories, numbers, that kind of stuff. The mathematics of weight loss is interesting to me, very much so. So, coming back and eating all that healthy, real food will be fine, whatever. But how long's it going to go? She's going to finish that tonight or throw out the rest. Throwing out that much food, it's not a flex to say I have so much food that I can throw it out. I mean, she sounds like a bad, international aid agency. Oh, I have all this food. It could feed a lot of people, but since I don't need it, I'm just going to burn it. Shantel thinks she's so far one direction and she's so far the other. So, her cooking doesn't look great. Now, she makes her comfort meals, which are spaghetti meatballs, meatloaf, mashed potatoes, shepherd's pie, and something else that she likes. Those church basement spaghetti. So those are her go-to. So that's about 4 dishes. She's not wildly creative otherwise. She has a few things she knows how to do, but much like Chantal, she doesn't want to learn anything new. She just wants to continue to make what she made. Now, because she slept her way around most of the world, she has some interesting recipes in her repertoire. She seems to have picked up cooking more from Bibi. Like, we got Mafe from Bibi. I've seen her make that peanut stew 3,000 times. And it looks good every time. Except when the peanut butter's separated and it just looked like greasy shit served over rice. But I'm trying not to be judgmental because I don't have the most international palate myself. Also, of all the continents or wherever where I know anything about food, Africa would be the least. It's not a food I grew up with. It's not places around here that served it. So it's just not as popular in the area I am. But of course, there's a bunch of American, Italian, Irish settled in this area, colonized, stole, however you want to put it on Independence Day. Independence for who? So, anyway. So on top of all this fat shit that she was dealing with, she did get a cease and desist letter. And she read it off, which is stupid, and was trying to make fun of the person who's from another country who wanted her to shut the fuck up and sent a letter. So she made fun of all this shit, read the letter, talked about this and that, try me, do your best, do your worst, blah, blah, blah. Then towards the end of the video, when she was having a smoke, she was like, I just don't want to stir shit. Like, I guess things can be taken out of context. When she says that, she means, I said nasty shit, but I don't want to take accountability for it. So she'll say she said it out of context or out of emotion. Chantal is the only person who needs to be 100% absolved from hurting someone when you're hurt. It's not my fault. I couldn't help it. Well, okay. So the person left the chat, but Chantal kept talking about them, essentially. She talked about Canadian free speech and how that protects her. I'm an American. We used to have free speech. But I was talking to another friend. I said, think of rights and privileges in different countries. And I was remembering that guy from the U.S., and it was the mid-90s. He went to Singapore and spray painted a tree, and so they caned him. I'm not a big one for capital punishment exactly, or eliminating that and bringing back torture. But do you think he's going to do it again? So I think she's protected. Yeah. She should be grateful she can walk. She should be. But you know how Chantal is. That was my cardio for the day. How long was that? 28 seconds. Perfect. All right, now I can go gorge. Jay, how are you? Hello. Foxy, hello. I see more folks trickling in and out. I'm trying to keep my eyes moving. So getting a cease and desist letter is not the kind of thing I would probably put on YouTube. Not the kind of thing I would handle it as best it needed to be handled. And I know sending cease and desists and PFAs and all that fun shit are like a very popular thing in some areas of not outside girl world. So Bandit's good, Jay. He's actually fine. We were saying the kiddies don't get too skittish with fireworks. And of course, because where I live, there will be people setting off. They've been doing it for 3 days. And now for the following 10, there will be more and more fireworks. So, thank you, Mosey. Happy 4th. Yeah, so I would shut up about legal matters, probably. Handle them privately, maybe a little more discreetly. I've never felt the need to reach out and say, hey, I don't like the way you're talking about me, or what you're saying about me is lies, and please stop. That shows your wet underbelly. Oh, please, you're hurting my feelings. Please don't. But at the same time, people can go very close to real life and very vicious. Chantal was the queen of the immediate low blow. Immediate low blow. Like if we were having a discussion and I was like, well, Chantal, you really do eat quite a bit. Maybe you could just dial it back some. Why? So I'll be bald like you? So she's got her answers. for everything. So goes. So let me take a look. We have about half an hour here. So I think we covered she returned. She wasn't sick, it was mentals. The chat assumes she's lying and they like her but don't respect her. That's my thought. She was nowhere to be seen on July 1st. She couldn't work out. She was too sick, too dizzy, too hot. My back, my neck, my crack. All hurts. Bees are still supporting her because all she has to do is go to the gym once and the fucking club cluster B goes apeshit and they all get excited. Oh, you could go every day now and you can do this. I don't know. Maybe they're just a disappointing family member too. I don't know. I mean, Chantal's not a unicorn. There's other people like her. And on some level, I think everybody knows a Chantal or someone who's like her. And Chantal is a lightning rod of hate because we always don't like those people who have those certain characteristics. And she has all of them at once, magnified with weed. So it's a different kind of, I don't know. If you want to get active, get active. I have a family member with BPD and this type of reactive behavior they display. They want to hurt you as much as possible. Yes, it's challenging. It's challenging. It's one of the more challenging diagnoses to deal with because there's prejudice within the mental health system that people with BP diagnosed with borderline personality are entirely difficult to work with. They're manipulative. They try to manipulate the therapist. There's a craving of comfort that a person might go in and out of a hospital, like a mental health unit, over and over and over again, but not so, it's not so much you give a medication and you get back to life. Personality, affect disorders, whatever they call them now, are you. They're part of you. It's just how you're made up. But it can still impact how you interact with the world. So most of it is learning about boundaries and responsibility and that kind of stuff. I'm surprised I was diagnosed everything else, but I was never diagnosed with a personality thing. I never stayed with any doctor long enough to, because it's like, it took a long time. When I was in treatment for 3 months, the last time, it still said, they were doing the Axis 1, Axis 2, all that stuff. And Axis 2 for me was deferred. There was no personality disorder, unless that was 3. That's your global functioning score, whatever it is. But I never showed up for one. But they also explained that to me, that we need to observe a person over a longer period of time to make some kind of diagnoses. I think people, when they hear that they have a personality disorder, thank you, Mirage, think it's an attack on them. It's like, no, it's not the most flattering set of characteristics, but personality disorders, they don't make pills for assholes. It's what it is. Like any other illness, you can try to treat symptoms. So talk therapy, again, can be helpful, but a lot of therapists will not touch a person with that because they either love being in treatment or they hate, or they try to manipulate the situation to try to get their needs met. Holding people on a ledge, non-suicidal self-injury is a very high cutting for most people, as they understand the word, is quite common. There's more suicide attempts, but not necessarily more deaths. So again, it goes to the kind of, it reminds me of Chantalese because she likes that medical attention. Like when she's sick, she likes that attention. When she's in the hospital, she takes selfies, to be like, hey guys, get behind me for this. I think that's a great point. Like people don't want to be labeled as this or that. And you don't have to agree with your psychiatrist. I could go to another psychiatrist, leave some shit out, and get a totally different diagnosis by the time I left. I've been doing more reading about neuroplasticity and things like that because, like Chantal, I will be on medication probably for the rest of my life, at least for the foreseeable future. And so I have to craft a life around side effects and kind of decide what kind of work can I do, what can't I do, what time do I need to go to bed, what time do I get up. If I eat too much, I feel like shit in the morning. If I don't eat at all, I feel like a martyr in the morning. So working through all those nuts and bolts of life. All this is, Chantal's like gearing up for life. This is it. There's no reset button. I'm sure she didn't think this is where she would be 3 years ago. I think she would have thought she'd still be living elsewhere. But if your nasty ass got thrown out of Kuwait and nobody in Syria wants to see your face, who's really the loser in all that, Yeah, it's very difficult. Narcissism is another one. It's very challenging to have a relationship with a person. Foodie just went live. I got the alert from Milky, which is good. We'll be off in a little bit. I doubt she's outside. She said it was too hot. So I'm thinking she got the haul. She got more groceries, as was said. So, she doctor shops before they even called it doctor shopping. Go to this pro and this one and get prescriptions from every single one. And then take all the pills and then not do anything. Unless it's the magic pill, she doesn't want it. It doesn't even matter if it's keeping her blood thin enough to course through her body. Not interested. Not interested. I'm surprised she's not on like hydrochlorothiazide or something for retention. But again, when you have that fluid, electrolyte, kidney, all that fun stuff happening at once. She hasn't mentioned the Ozempic, but as was said, she probably smoked straight through it to get her appetite gone. Like, she would not be deterred. I would not be deterred. When I left my first rehab, they gave me a shot of Vivitrol. It's an opioid blocker, but it was thought to reduce cravings for alcohol. It sort of did, but within a week, within a couple days maybe, I had already started drinking again, and I just needed to drink more to get the effect. So I was sicker, but... Does anyone know why Shantel Gucci doesn't cover it? I don't know. BP, behavioral personality disorder. She's... God knows what goes on between her ears. There's so many layers of secrets with Shantel that I don't know which one. Even her family probably can't decide. Is this really the kind of person you've grown up to be? Is this it? You got nothing else going on? So, Lindigo, hello. Yeah, we're going to be wrapping up. She's going on, and it's the 4th here in the States, like we've been saying. So I don't know going forward. Like I said, someone said that she had done some shopping, more groceries. It's something it's a way she can buy food without having to leave the house and then have groceries and all this healthy stuff. I give this, by tomorrow night, she's getting fast food from somewhere. Subway, or something like that, so. Oh, the kidneys or whatever. She's supposed to be on kidney medicine, too. She kind of just, Gucci's looking into some legal stuff between Foodie. Oh, shit. See, this is the dark underbelly of YouTube. Don't talk about me. Your whole channel's talking about me. Well, I'm not talking about you. Well, get on panel. I will pay this one to come on panel and talk to, no hate, but that's a whole lot more time on YouTube talking about nonsense than I would need, because it never seems like anyone of the drama chats are talking about anything important necessarily. They're just talking to talk shit and drop DMs and all that stuff. I don't get it, but I'm also, it's not an immature thing. I know some people in their 60s who should probably be getting off YouTube and go do something else for a little while, but their life, not mine. So we'll wrap it here. Thank you all for joining me. We had over 100 people coming in here on a holiday anyway. So great to be here. Thank you for watching. Please hit the thumbs up if you'd be so inclined, and please do subscribe. We have memberships available, $2.99 a month. I'm finishing a video tonight that will be going out maybe later tonight or early tomorrow for members only. So keep an eye out. But that's the date on it, today or tomorrow. It'll be out in the morning. And that's all we got going on. So look after yourselves. Look after each other. Take care, and we'll talk soon. Okay? Bye.